This episode is brought to you by Bleacher Report. How do you follow sports? From college football to the NBA, Bleacher Report brings you the latest news, live scores, and epic highlights from your favorite leagues, teams, and athletes, all in one app. Dive into exclusive shows hosted by your favorite athletes and original Bleacher Report series with breaking news, rumors, and predictions all season long. Download Bleacher Report to personalize your coverage.
This episode is brought to you by AWS. Amazon Q Business is the generative AI assistant that can securely understand your business data, summarize results, and streamline tasks. Learn what Amazon Q Business can do for you at aws.com/learn more.
Hey, it's Austin James. Yes, I'm living with diabetes, but it doesn't have to define me. Thanks to the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor, I get real-time glucose readings throughout the day. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor is small and easy to wear, giving me the freedom to focus on my life as a parent and a musician. Now this is progress. You can get a free sensor at freestylelibre.us.
Offer available for people who qualify. Visit myfreestyle.us to see all terms and conditions. Certain exclusions apply. Data on file. Abbott Diabetes Care. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hi, and welcome to this magnificent week of Anfield Index Under Pressure Pod. And there's no Darth, it's me. And I have with me Bart and the boy genius Hamzah. Check me out, understating Bart instead of blowing smoke up your ass. We're all good to chat. This brilliant after this brilliant Spurs performance, and apparently we won a cup game last week as well, which I'll need to check the score of just to cover that kind of stuff. But how we doing, boys?
Good.
What were your feelings on yesterday? How are you feeling about yesterday?
Pretty amazing, to be fair. I mean, we could talk about garbage time goals as everyone loves to in the narrative in the media, but to go away to Spurs and put 6 past them and be 5-1 up with 10 to play, I mean, I'm like, that's a statement performance and a half. That is for me.
It's good fun, eh? Hamzah?
I was happy with Szoboszlai's performance. Actually, I was really happy with the team performance, specifically Szoboszlai, and then I was a bit saddened that we sort of just took our foot off the gas. But hopefully there's a lesson there that the team will learn to not take the foot off the gas. Either you kill the opponents and you keep going for it and you batter them and you humiliate them, or you see the game out. What you don't do is just sort of, it's Spurs, it's really easy. We got away with that there, and even though we were the better team, but hopefully there's a lesson that they'll internalise from that.
I had a great time. Retrospectively, looking at stats straight after the game in a way that you could tweak Arsenal fans. The 3 goals the last 2 goals pissed me off. But in that Spurs now went at one moment in the game, we had top of the league, we had top of the goal scoring chart, and top of the defensive goals chart, and then letting them score their 2 goals. It put them above us in the goal scored and reduced us to level. So we're now level with Chelsea in goals scored, just below Spurs, and we're level with Arsenal in goals conceded instead of being ahead of them. So that just annoyed me. But in the grand scheme of things, top of the league at Christmas again. It's a fun week, and for those traditional fans, I feel like it's traditional fans, older ones. I don't know. Given that I'm 50 this week, so like I'm should be one of those fans. We just went away at Spurs, and we got through to a semi-final of the League Cup, Carabao, whatever it's called these days. But like, it's a good spot for the club to be in, along with the greatest record ever to begin Premier League manager's career. In the first 24 games, this is the best record ever.
Yeah, it's a very good place to be as a club. I mean, we sat here moaning about conceding 2 goals in the end of the game where we've gone away to a traditional Big Six side and frankly taken them apart. And as you said, we're in the semi-final of the Cup and things are rosy and the Champions League's gone very, very well and the rest of it. So, yeah, it's very good.
Right, should we quickly cover the EFL? Who did we play?
Southampton
away.
Then there you go. So I can quickly talk about the starting 11. We had 8 changes, so which mostly made me happy. The only thing that annoyed me is looking through it from the sports science perspective, and I banged on about the loading of both the acute loading, weekly loading of these players, their acute current ratio, the fatigue index, but also the long-term loading, which is the thing that worries me the most, the massive season-on-season spikes our players are, some of them, but quite a few of them are undergoing. And even best case scenario, the lads that have huge previous history of minutes, a history of huge previous minutes in season, was still really close to them. So this is all fingers in all of the sockets at all of the times. And he did what is a really smart thing in that he gave basically the lads who are the most important to him, to how we're playing. So we've got Virgil, we've got Ali, we've got Grav, who knew that's a key move, and Zobo and Mo and Diaz. All of them are close to or above career numbers for games played, and he gave them day off. Which is, if you listen to this pod over the years, this is one of the things that people confuse with my complaints about the Caribou, is that it's about minutes. It is about minutes in legs, but the thing that I think derails our season is when we use the game as a game. So all of the first team players still manage their training week around that game, so they're preparing for that game instead of utilizing the time off to get freshness, or planning for the weekend's game ahead and like embedding tactics for that and evolving towards that. And so that's what he did with this, apart from Trent and Joe Gomez. At some point, it worries me. Trent is on for a career high, even after his injury, which makes me a little bit more worried. And Joe's not, but he was of the acute chronic fatigue index spike, because he's been thrown in and he's had to play all the time. So, and he just come off 105 minutes and 95 minutes in the previous 8 days. So he was kind of spiked. But if you can get through that midweek, what it does is it increases everybody's crank load, so that you can get through and you're fine, as long as it's not ridiculously high week on week towards the end of the season. Like for Joe Gomez, he's not going to get career average even season. That he's actually in a really good position to now play games every week, play 2 games a week. So it was worth a gamble with him. It was a bigger gamble with Trent, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we came through, because he was brilliant on Saturday. So that's kind of where we'd stand bringing the kids in. What do you think to the kids?
I think it did okay. It's hard to judge on a 45-minute period, like the guys that came in the back. I mean, the other, playing midfield and forward, we said before, as a kid, is you can play a bit more risky, can't you? You can play a bit more your game. But when you're at the back, your last line defence, I think they did okay. There was a few. There's no argument to say that we weren't a little bit looser, a little bit more open, should we say, when we did make the changes. I think that's kind of what you would expect if the kids came on against Southampton, as much as being poor, are a Premier League side. So, they did just come up from the Championship. So you'd expect them to put pressure on a set of kids coming in playing at the back. But they are, you typically say it, so they're all academy players. They can all do X. They can all do A, B, C, D. It's not like when we were growing up, when I was a little bit older than me, but you see kids coming in who were a little bit ropey, can do A, B, C, D, because they haven't got that full plethora of skill set that you now get through an academy system. So they all get that. It's now whether they get enough game time at the right level to progress and become a pro. So, yeah, I thought they were okay.
How do we set up? Do we have? There was lots of rumours, weren't there, about Trent playing left back, but it ended up he just played right back and Gomez played left back. So we had Endo playing left-sided centre back next to Kwanzaa, wasn't it?
Yes. And then Trent and Joe were the two fullbacks. Costas came on for Joe. And I'm just trying to find his name. McGonnell came on the hour. And
so we swapped at half time. Chiesa came off the track.
Yeah.
And then which left? Do we have Morton and who was in midfield? Did either of you watch? Matt had to play, didn't he? Because he played for an hour. Morton started as the 6 with Neone.
That's it. I can't pronounce his name. I'm looking at him going, I can't pronounce his name. But yeah, so we played a young double pivot, should we say. But then Morton's had a season in Championship, hasn't he, playing for Blackburn, right? So this is, and he would have played against Saints last season. So it's not like this is not unbeknown to him. But yeah.
He looks like a tidy footballer to me. He went to play right back in the second half when Trent went off. Morton went to play right back. And Harvey came into midfield and they kind of rotated Neone out with Harvey after we looked kind of garbage, I think, for the first while. And when McConnell came on, he sat in as the 6, I think. This is me looking at numbers, not looking at the game.
No, you're right. He did come in. But then that's McConnell. That's what he does, isn't he? He comes in and plays as part of a 6.
McConnell.
I think he's all right. I think he's a good player. Yeah.
As we're talking at old school, the last real time I watched the League Cup was like, this is not true because I've been to League Cup finals, but actually paid attention was like Soonest. And McConnell reminds me of a lad that Hamzah's not going to remember, but I thought he was going to be our own, like, Ronnie Whelan at worst, but I really thought he was going to be Glenn Hoddle, Mike Marsh. 2 feet, he could pass any type of pass.
That Halen pass and passed.
Yeah, under Souness, we had a whole bunch of really good young kids coming up because Fowler had come up with him and then McManaman. And is this our next wave of great young talents? And Mike Marsh, and he just kind of fizzled out. We had a reincarnation of him with Danny Murphy. Just a really tidy technical, no real technical deficiencies, but doesn't have the physical capacities to be great. And McConnell's taller, but that's what I see in him. He's kind of 2-footed. He can take the ball. He looks like he's got a pass. I'm not quite sure what he's missing, but he's obviously missing something because at his age, he would already be in and around the first team. And he's not had big injuries that keep him out.
He had the ankle injury, didn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, like 3 years ago, he would have been in and around the team. But I do like him. What do you think, Hamzah?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I haven't seen him too much, but again, usually of the bits that you see, yeah, like him. I think the Academy has done a good job of producing decent players at the moment. Monetizing them is probably the main objective, to be quite sort of frank about it. Because of the way PSR works, you get these players. If you can, let's say you sell an Academy player for 10 million, that's super work. That's just 10 million profit to your books that you can spend on transfers, wages, all that sort of stuff. It makes it a bit tough if you're a player and you've done all this work and you get sold, but that's the way it is. But I think you got to remember that it functions as an academy, and these matches often work as a sort of as a big sort of showroom sort of thing. Here you go. Here's a good player. Do you want to buy him? Yeah, works. But yeah, did a good job.
Quickly, what did we think of Neone?
I quite like him. I have to say, I think he's like you just profiled McConnell. I think he's a bit quicker off the mark. I think his decision making's a little bit sharper in terms of playing forward rather than safe. There's nothing wrong with playing safe, by the way. I'm just saying that he sometimes spots a forward progressive path a little bit.
He plays the 10th.
Yeah, he's younger as well. He's bought 60s. Yeah, so he's sort of the age group below, isn't he? So I think he's potentially being exposed getting the minutes now is good for him. I do quite like him as a prospect, I have to say. But then I like McConnell as well, so I like both of them. But I could see McConnell going in the summer, for example, for money like Clark went in the summer for 12 million. That I could see that happening. Whereas okay, that's interesting. So you see how the age profile of our midfield changes. Because what was Mac mid-20s? Can't remember.
25. Zorbo's 24. Graf's 23.
Yeah, so you kind of need need a level below that to start being a rotation option, don't you? Because as they move towards 26, 27, whether we move, it's that kind of planning, isn't it? And he could be that player. That's a massive statement, but I mean, he could be.
Yeah, nothing, Hamzah. You don't know the kids.
Too well, no.
So if we have to talk about this, I don't really know what happened in this game. I can see that Darwin scored and Gakpo filled his boots again as he does, but with an assist. I'm guessing to Darwin.
No, so they had a break. I think Kev plays it to Trent. Trent gets out of a bit of trouble because he gets pressed from a Southampton player, and then just pings it straight, and it flicks off a Southampton player straight into Núñez, I think, if I vaguely remember. And Núñez takes one touch and then buries it past the keeper after running into space. A typical, into space run from Núñez, get on a ball, doesn't have to think about it, slots it home. It's a good finish. The Harvey goal is built down the left. I think Gapgo or Cody plays a couple of 1-2s and then just rolls in Elliott, who takes one touch and fires it across the keeper from the edge of the box to make it 2-0. And we were largely comfortable until we made the changes, and predictably we got a bit looser, But they only scored from I think we try and clear it, gets deflected into the path, and they had 2-on-1 and ended up scoring. But it cuts inside and bends it in the far top corner, so Kev's got little chance for it, shall we say? But it's kind of at 2-0 looked fairly standard. See it out, and I don't think if that ball hadn't have been deflected, I think it largely would have just petered out as a game. Really, I was more interested in seeing whether Arsenal could throw away the lead or not.
Fair enough. I think that summarises it. The only thing I'd add about this is interesting that Harvey scored in a garbage cut, but he still scored. The one season numbers that I track is all sorts of stuff, but the difference, but try to create profiles of players, the different things that they provide, and actions into the box is something that I look at. So any dribbles or any carries or passes into the box, because you've got to get into the box, otherwise you're not going to score. And our midfield, let's say, not prolific at getting the ball into the box. So Zobo is 1.6 times a game. Curtis is 1.5. Grab's 1.3. Max the highest with 1.7. Harvey's 6.7 actions into the game. And I appreciate this is a very small sample size, but last season it was at 5.1, which is just below Mo. So he does help us get into the box. He is a line breaker. So my only point of this is that it's an extra weapon. If we can figure out how to utilize that, it might be a handy extra tool for Slot to have for the rest of the season if we get him up to speed.
I thought it was interesting where we started this game and where he finished. He started in the front three, and then they worked out that wasn't going to work because he, physical limitations, should we say. It's not his fault. He's just never going to be the quickest to beat a fullback. So they moved him into more in the midfield, and that's where he got his goal and he progressed.
This year, Santa's bringing the power of Energizer into his workshop.
Whoa, the Energizer Bunny's got so much power.
Wait, he's powered up all the toys. I think that means we're done for the year.
I love this bunny.
He's the hardest working helper the North Pole has ever seen. And he wants all your gifts to have the power of the #1 longest lasting AA battery. So this holiday season, stock up on Santa's and the elves' favorite battery, Energizer Ultimate Lithium.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in places that could expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, their US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Time to move? Skip the hassles of selling during the holiday season and sell your home directly to Opendoor. Request an all-cash offer in minutes, close, and get paid in days. You can even pick your close date so you can move after New Year's. Start your move at Opendoor.com or download the Opendoor app. Opendoor is represented by Opendoor Brokerage Inc., license 02061130 in California, and Opendoor Brokerage LLC in its other markets. Terms and conditions apply.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. Ha. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes, and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
For us, as you said, he came on Palace last season and operated in a space where they've lost a player, but he's very good at getting the ball in the box, getting shots off. But it's how do you fit that in a Premier League winning side that, for the large part at the moment, demands athleticism as its priority in the midfield wheelhouse over ability? So it's and who are you going to pick if you're not going to have an athletic player? I mean, Mac's not athletic, but he's not the same level. You're going to pick Mac, aren't you? So Harvey's going to miss out. So yeah, it's something he's going to have to think about as a player as well in terms of his career, because he's not any younger, and he probably should be thinking about, where am I going to start moving forward, or am I happy to come on and with half an hour to go for Liverpool and contribute that way? I don't know. That's just a long-term thing, but it's just I've often thought with him, he has got ability, clearly has, but where does he fit in our system? And is he happy with that, or is he happy as a player? I want to start with the week, and that's a decision he make.
Don't feel bad for him, but kind of like he gets to stay around and win stuff with us. But I would worry if I was him, if I was his agent, or whatever. It's 3,800 minutes last season. He got a full proper season. Yeah. And then this season he got injured, but it looks like he's moved down the hierarchy then. Anyway, that's way too much time spent on a garbage competition when we did Spurs. So Spurs, let's 2 changes. No, so we got 6 changes from the Caribou. Who cares? This is first team. I would suggest you're going to swap Ibu and Gomez in all likelihood. But if everybody's fit, this is our first team. Nobody loves Curtis more than me, but this is. And as we'll discuss a little bit later, as a consequence of winning the bloody Caribou, we have 475 games in 63 days. So there's no, this is your first team because we've got two games every week. So there is always going to be 130 minutes for each of the midfielders. That's just how it's going to be. And that's how it's going to be for our forwards. But when the game's on the line, I think Fergie kind of started this 15, 20 years ago, which he prioritized over the course of the season. He had a bigger squad. He had rotation, which allowed his team. It's one of the things that's never talked about why they were so good. They had more good players than everybody else. So they could rotate. So they had fresher players. And he prioritized big games for his best players. over the whole season. Like Scholes would know he was playing in the third week in March before the season began, but he might not be playing in October. And I think we might have a little bit of that from a first team perspective. But this is a bloody strong lineup. That's all I'm going to say. Do you have the match stats? Oh, Hamzah, give me the Spurs starting lineup.
Sure. The big story with Spurs at the moment is their defenses and goalkeeper is they're all injured. Vicario's out. He had
quite a drop off between their keepers as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's the context of the game? I heard about the old Southampton keeper is shit. He's been terrible for his whole life. I would place him in the lower echelons of the WSL if this the standard that he is going to be in. So there's quite a big drop off, isn't it?
Yeah. So Vicario got injured in the match where they beat City at the Etihad. I think he had a fractured ankle or something. Actually, that is right. Since then, Forster's been playing. And the way that they build means that he needs to be quite proactive. But if you compare like a fluent goalkeeper on the ball, when they receive, it's just a very fluid motion. They know where they're going. The ball comes in. Their first touch actually releases the ball, and then they play it. Fraser Forster, he gets the ball, he controls the ball, he looks up, he knocks the ball at his feet, and then he passes, or he tries to pass. So there's a big difference between how they play with and without him, and it's quite a big problem, really. But yeah, he's in goal, and their defence was Pedro Porro, Radic Dragoshin, Archie Gray, and Jed Spence. Some people listening may not have watched some of those players this season. Obviously, Porro, I think we're all familiar with. Dragoshin is their third choice centre back because Romero and Van der Ven, who's quite good, are injured. Archie Gray has been used in a range of positions this season, bought from Leeds, quite a good player. I'm not even sure what position he is. I think he's a right back usually, but he's played all over. And then Spence, who is sort of out and now back in, he was at left back. So yeah, real sort of cobbled together back line. No wonder Liverpool had so much joy against them. In midfield, there's like two components here that actually I generally like these guys. Bissouma and Sarr, they're quite industrious. Sarr's quite easy on the eye, nice and fluid on the ball. Bissouma, as most people are familiar with, good at Brighton, good ball winner, had a bit of a drop off, but yeah. And then the attacking group, so Kulusevski, Maddison, Son in the attacking three, and then behind former Liverpool player Dominic Solanke up top, who's played well this season and did well last season as well. But yeah, that's the lineup. They have a good attack, they have a terrible defence, and they have a midfield that is often under enormous strain, not just because of that right there, the good attack and bad defence, but because of the way that they play, because they often lock on man-to-man and they're quite easy to manipulate. And it's, to be honest, I struggle to see what their triggers are because their triggers seem to be everything. A pass will go backwards, they run. A pass will go sideways, they run. I think their trigger is actually one of the players triggering it, which is why it gets triggered so often, and which is why it's quite easy to manipulate. That's the Spurs team.
Nice. Spurs cover the most distance in the league this season, and you can kind of see why. They just play basketball the whole time. It's a little bit like a poor man's 17-18 Klopp side. It's like somebody that didn't quite get all of the tactical playbook is copied the tactics. He's seen most of it, kind of figured it out, but missed the bit where it comes about creating cul-de-sacs to actually win the ball high up the pitch. So they have like 6 Lalanas going at the same time. It's very amusing. But how was our what's the match stats?
So top level, surprisingly, I mean, I can't be bothered to go to one decimal place, but it's 58 to 42 in our favour. Or 24 to 9. 11 to 5 on target. So we outshot them on target as well. 6-yard box shots, 4 to 1. Not a surprise. And then we had 9 big chances to 2, which is an astronomical amount. XG, you know what it's like with the models and how it changes throughout the thing. But when I took my sample of the data, it was 5.23 to us and 1.25 to them. There was a lot of change in some of Mo's shots went down and up from 0.4 to 0.25, which I don't understand how you can drop that much. But anyway, that's what's happened with a few of them. Post shot, I've got it is 3.76 and Tottenham at 2.17. EPV or threat to everybody else is 2.69 for us and 1.59 for them, which means your threat to XG conversion for us is 195%, which is one of our highest of the season. And for them, 78%. So that's quite good to contain our position at below 100 again, get back to that. Whereas previous games, it started to creep in and around, letting them have 100%. Pass success, 85 each, give or take a few decimal places. In terms of probabilities, we were 96.4% likely to win this game, which shouldn't surprise that many. Draw was more likely than a Tottenham win at 2.6%. And the actual score that is the most probable is 5-1. And 9-0 was 1%. And that is better than pretty much any Tottenham possible result. So, yeah, there you go. So not a bad, as Darth would say was here, that is probably a shellacking masked by 2 goals to concede garbage time, which is when we did concede the most XG, to be fair. Which I think we can probably talk about, and the effect of the subs maybe altered that a little bit. And as Hamzah said in the prelude, a little bit, we do take the foot off the gas for when we do get the lead, but we probably let that off a little bit too much to let them score 2 goals. But yeah, largely a fairly dominant display, I would say, for, as I said, going to the traditional top 6 away side on a Sunday 4 o'clock. To do that, I would say it was a pretty outstanding result, to be fair.
I would suggest the domination came about up to our 5th goal, 61 minutes.
Yeah,
and that
5-1.
Game was done. They created pretty much nothing. They skanked the goal with a lovely finish, but that's a little disputable free kick element of that. But up to that point, it was as dominant as it gets, and stuff happened afterwards. So stuff happens after these things. It's just the 9 big chances is the most since UP started collecting stats in 15-16, matching Newcastle at Huskers last season. Yeah.
7 XG.
Yeah, depends. Rhodes used to collect the XG, and he would aggregate the 5. So he would take an average of Unstat, Opta, FBref, mark our stats. There was 5. I can't remember.
Daily as well.
Daily though, yeah. So he would aggregate that. So in the system we have it at 536 XG, and Understat gives this 5.2. What did you give it, Boss?
I had 5.23.
Yeah. So these are big boy numbers with no penalties.
Is that a question for you, side? Is that the highest amount of XG we create away from home?
It's the highest amount of XG created away from home ever by anybody in the Premier League.
That's amazing.
Beating Chelsea did it a couple of years ago. Yeah. So no, Chelsea got the 3rd highest this season, and there was one from a couple of years ago. Yeah, so this is the highest. Records began in 10-11. Let me just get the sheet up. Sorry, Hamzah.
Oh, I was just saying that it's up to even had it at 5.63. They upgraded it after a low initial value.
The Mark R stats had it 5.9, I think. Yeah, so Chelsea this season is 2nd with 5.43 away. Opta give it 5.63. There's a Leicester against Villa in 2019, 4.81. And then 2 seasons ago, City smashed Norwich with a 4.76. So this is a historic dropping.
Yeah.
Fun. So up to, I would suggest, the first. How did you see Spurs line up against us? Because I saw the man marking that you were talking about, Hamzah, And I thought they changed after about 15 minutes, but for the first, or maybe it was the first goal. First 15 minutes that Maddison was man marking Grab, which I thought was curious, given that lad over there. He's called Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's the best passer in the world, and they just let him have the ball. In the first 24 minutes, he had the most touches of anyone on the pitch. What insanity is that?
I think it was because he was in a wide area and they weren't expecting him to be that wide or that deep in the first phase. And they didn't want to overcommit in their press because that would then leave them open to transition, which it sounds like counterintuitive given how much they do lock on man-to-man and they press. But I think that's what they were concerned about. But as you saw with the first goal and I think the pass for the third where he received it out wide and then turns and hits across with his a pass forward with his left foot.
That was a second.
Second, sorry. Then I think they didn't expect both fullbacks to be wide and to contribute in that way. I think they might have just thought that Trent would be in field more. Maybe they were just a bit surprised by that, but it didn't quite make sense to me.
So he surprised them by playing right back. I love Trent playing right back. I think he's the best right back I've ever seen when he plays right back. I appreciate what happened 2 years ago when Pep and Klopp reinvented the wheel and shoved him in midfield to get his passing going. There are lots of reasons why we can talk cynically, or Hamzah can give his insight into the extra value of him being centre mid. He played right back in this game, and he created 1.98 XT per 100 touches. He almost had 100 touches. You like De Bruyne as a 10 doesn't create that. You don't need to be in the centre of the pitch to influence a game in this way, particularly when you have a fella called Alexis McAllister dictating tempo, which I thought he was low-key magnificent.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of 1 cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.